The show. We are now going to be joined by the fantastic Gabi, Binnie and Kerry McElroy from Gabi is the head of funded projects at Gradconsult, and Kerry is the project lead for the LCR graduate scheme in the wonderful city of Liverpool. It's an absolutely fantastic program. It's a new frontier, I think, for sort of universities in terms of moving beyond the sort of supporting with recruitment, but sort of helping develop graduates, creating a community within their city region of young professionals, and really being a catalyst for local regional economic development. But I don't want to steal your thunder, so I'm going to pipe down now. I can see the look in Gabi's eyes going, stop talking, Mike, and let us do this. So I'm going to hand over now, and I really look forward to hearing about the programme. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike. So yes, for those who don't know me, I'm Gabi. I'm head of funded projects at Gradconsult, and you might know me from my previous life as policy and research manager at CAS. And I think I've got the best job of the conference today. So sorry, Mike, sorry, Claire, in that I get to spend the next half an hour just chatting with Kerry about the fabulous LCR grad scheme. So this is a conversational session. We're not using slides, we're going old school, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to kind of have a chat about the LCR grad scheme and also hopefully answer some of your questions. So if you do have any, pop them in the Q&A. Any that we don't get time to, we're happy to answer outside of the session as well. So without further ado, Kerry, I'd like to hand over to you to just give us a bit of a summary of the LCR grad scheme to start with, please.
Okay, thanks, Gabi. And just as well, I guess, you know, although Rebecca's presentation was a very tough act to follow, I think it really leads nicely, because a lot of what Rebecca discussed, we are trying to bring to life through the LCR grad scheme and kind of counter some of the issues. So firstly, I'll tell you what it is. So the project is part funded by the European Social Fund and run by a project team out of Careers Employability at the University of Liverpool, who, you know, the kind of management team here were the brains behind the initial idea. So what we're doing in short is creating a pipeline of talent from universities into local SMEs. So what happens is we kind of hope to be able to place graduates in roles at local SMEs, but I guess there's two customer journeys at play through the project. So I'll start by describing those. The first is the journey for the SMEs. So what happens is we engage SMEs in the city region. I'll talk a little bit more about how we do that shortly. And then they come to us and say, we're looking to hire a graduate. And from there, we, in partnership with the great team at Rate My Placement, are running a graduate attraction campaign across universities, at all universities in the Liverpool city region, and also having a presence nationally as well. So this programme is open to graduates from any university. I think it's a really important point. Once those kind of that attraction campaigns happened, the applications have come in, the project team here run the recruitment process end to end. So from application online through to assessment centre, to really kind of present to SMEs, to final round candidates who have been assessed for, you know, I guess the core competencies and skills. And once the graduates are hired, what's really unique is that we then bring them onto a training and development programme, which is delivered in partnership with yourselves at Gradconsult, as well as the team at Agents Academy locally here. I think, you know, for the students then, the journey is that they, again, I'll talk a little bit more about the attraction in more detail shortly, but they will apply online to one of two streams. We have the marketing and business operations stream, which is open to graduates from all degree disciplines, and the businesses who sign up for a graduate from that stream will be very open to the fact that they need to provide that training and development to kind of, you know, hone the talent a little bit more. On the technical side, that's our second stream. I think that's where businesses can be more specific around the backgrounds they're looking for. So we will have roles in there such as engineering, program kind of developers, and I think engineers, for example. So that's where it is more kind of specific. once the graduates apply, I think the important thing is it's more than just a job application. It really is a journey for them. So they are able to receive support from us every step of the way, from video interview through to assessment centre, and even post-assessment centre. You know, if things don't go so well at that stage, we and our wonderful team here of kind of graduate recruitment officers will work with graduates to kind of continue to hone their employability skills. And then, you know, the final piece of the journey for the graduates, if they are successful and they do get a role, is to join the training and development programme, which really eases that transition from university into kind of the world of work, and provides what I like to think is a bit of a comfort blanket. And Gabi, you'll talk more about the content shortly. Just to run through some stats very quickly, we've been officially running since September. We've so far got 40 businesses who have either hired through us or are looking to hire through us at the moment. We've had over 500 students start their applications online, and we currently have a cohort of 20 LCR grads, our very first ones, who started training in January, with the next intake about to come on board in September. Proudest moment for me to date is definitely the event we held at the Lager buildings, as I really feel it shows the level of buzz there is in the city region about the scheme from all different stakeholders. And if it works, I would like to just play a short video to kind of demonstrate that. So let's share sound, optimize sound, and hope that this works.
If it doesn't, I can just pretend to do the video and everyone will just have to go with that.
Okay, can you hear?
Yes, yes, we can hear it, Kerry.
Today's been important because we're bringing the scheme to life now. We're able to introduce graduates to businesses in the Liverpool City region. We've also had the opportunity to speak to senior leaders at the university, and Steve Rotherham coming today has been fantastic for us because they're right behind the scheme.
I believe that our future is much brighter than even our historic past, and you can help us to forge that next chapter in what I believe will be a fantastic future for us all.
It was an opportunity for me to get my foot in the door within the business community and to be able to talk to basically stakeholders and showcase what I had.
But what I love about the training and development programme is that it brings graduates working in different businesses together to really create that sense of community in the Liverpool City region and kind of give them an enhanced professional network.
For so long we've been an exporter of graduates. It's time now to keep our graduates here. So the LCR grad is a brilliant scheme for actually helping us do that.
I've made really good personal connections with them. I feel welcomed. I feel like I can go in there, really sell myself, and also get to know everyone, get to know the businesses.
The grad scheme did a really good job kind of matching me with the right kind of opportunities I was looking for, and then obviously you connect me then with SMEs, and these were opportunities I otherwise would never have seen.
All the SMEs, startups, scale-ups are looking for new talent and looking to bring people into their businesses to help them grow and provide value back to the community and the rest of the economy.
Thanks, Kerry. Just to go back to the beginning for a second, one thing that I really want to know more about is, you know, how was your funding big successful? What was the problem that you were trying to solve that allowed you to create the LCR grad scheme from it?
1 second, Gabi, my video was still playing then. That's better. So I think, you know, when a university kind of opts into a project like this, that there's definitely a range of issues that they want to solve through it. I think for me, I'd just highlight two. The first, graduate retention in the Liverpool City region, and also kind of making sure that those who do stay in the region are going into graduate level employment. I think historically, you know, we have a really great sense of loyalty and people wanting to stay in the city region, and what pains us is that, you know, those who do leave are saying they're leaving because there's not enough opportunity here. So I think that was certainly a gap which was spotted. And the second is kind of creating a better connection between local business and local universities in general. So I think, again, you know, businesses will traditionally approach universities when there's a very specific offer, instead of just to support them with their general hiring. And we really want to encourage that view that, you know, local universities are an excellent talent pipeline. And I think what we are doing through the scheme is kind of taking out that issue of which team do I work with, which university do I work with, you know, we're open to all. And so that's something which we wanted to address. And I think we're going some way to doing that by kind of creating a brand which is recognisable, is becoming recognisable to both businesses and students.
You've touched a little bit on my next question, Kerry, but the scheme's been going since September. Is there anything already that is successful, or anything that you've learned so far?
I'm going to go down a soft route of something which I think is successful. So what I'm really enjoying is seeing how that community is coming together with the grads on the current programme. So like I said earlier, we've got 20 who have been meeting up since January now, and we're starting to see friendships develop there. You know, I think one of the things we're very conscious of is working in an SME as a graduate can be quite a lonely place. We've got some businesses which are micros, and actually if you're having you know, the group come together, they've got another outlet, they've got kind of another friendship group. So for example, there's one person on the programme who, you know, she says to us, oh, I'm the only woman in my team and I'm by far the youngest person in my business. I love my role, but I love coming here and kind of having that network as well. So that's been great, as has the you know, the connection that our team are building with the grads too. So there's been a couple of potentially tricky professional issues, and it's great to see the grads, you know, viewing our graduate recruitment officers as kind of confidants to help them through those scenarios. So love that too. But Gabi, of course, what brings them together is the training programme, which the team at Gradconsult are involved in delivering. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit more about the content here.
Definitely, thanks Kerry. So we have designed a 6-month development programme for the LCR grads. Now on the face of it, a 6-month development programme of 1 workshop a month sounds fairly simple, but we like to think there's a little bit more to it than that. So the programme's been designed with exactly what Rebecca's session that's just covered has in mind. So the idea is that we're taking graduates who are perhaps quite embedded within that academic and educational way of thinking and behaving, and helping them transition successfully within their SME into that kind of more professional behaviours and mindset. So the programme's all set up to kind of help with that transition. So alongside their monthly workshops, they also have their kind of takeaway tasks, little tasks designed to help them kind of implement the knowledge that they've learnt in the workshop, as well as a 6-month-long Catalyst project. I feel like Catalyst is very on brand for today's session, being an Employability Lab. And the Catalyst project inspires them to find a solution to a problem in their business, or to identify an innovation that they can actually implement in their business. And the 6-month workshops kind of give them the tools that they need at each stage of the process of their project journey. So at the beginning, we're talking about idea generation. We move on to project management, and by the end, we're going to be covering things like evaluation. But we wanted to make it a bit more fun and interesting than just saying to the grads, you know, come for a day and we'll teach you about project management. So we started with our programme by defining 4 core values. The first was it needed to be by SMEs for SMEs. At the end of the day, we wanted to make sure it was all about return on investment, our second core value. So it was really important for us to know what SMEs were looking for in this kind of programme. If you're a micro SME and you're giving your graduate up for 1 day a month, you need to make sure that it's going to result in something for your business. So we were really focused on the fact that it had to result in return on investment. The third value was all about building connections. As you've already mentioned, Kerry, so important to build connections and friendships between the graduates themselves, but also business relationships between the SMEs that they work for and relationships with the Liverpool City region. And our final value was that it had to be LCR at its heart. So it had to be linked to and kind of embedded within the context of the Liverpool City region. So based on those 4 core values, I started embarking on a piece of research. And anyone who knows me knows that I love research. It's something I talk about all the time. But faced a bit of a challenge in the beginning of the project in that I kind of underestimate the fact that not everyone else likes research. So we embarked on a research project to understand what SMEs were looking for from this programme that didn't get quite as much engagement from SMEs as we would have hoped. So we had to do a bit of pivoting, if you Ross from Friends, do a bit of a pivot and change the way we kind of approach that situation. So we gave SMEs kind of free graduate development sessions that we use to kind of covertly gather data to inform the graduate development programme. So from those sessions, we identified the core skills and competencies that SMEs across the LCR region were looking for and built a competency framework designed to kind of identify those skills and what they look like at the new enroll stage and at the excelling stage. So we've got kind of a continuum between graduates who are more in the academic minded stage of their skill development and those who are excelling, who are much more along that transition to the professional kind of skills and that we're looking for. So each workshop identifies some of those key skills, but makes it experiential. So the graduates are actually doing some fun tasks designed to help them develop those skills, but in a kind of a way that's linked to the Liverpool City region. So each workshop is framed around a different strategic area for the Liverpool City region. So a fairer city region, a connected city region, a vibrant city region, and gives them challenges that they have to solve in order to develop these skills. So a cleaner city region is all about project management and agile methodologies, but based around sustainability and clean innovation. So we're about halfway through the programme and we've had really good feedback so far. And in order to evaluate the process, we are kind of created a scale that assesses that journey and what skills look like on that journey from academic life to professional life. And we're going to see how their skills change as we go through the programme. So hopefully we should have some really good data for that really soon. So that's a bit of a summary of the active development programme. But Kerry, I've had some obvious issues engaging employers with my side of things. How have you found engaging employers with the wider scheme?
Yeah, I think the challenges we faced haven't been entirely dissimilar to yours. It's more about, I think any challenges come back to the fact that SMEs are time poor, and often resource poor as well. So, I think what we saw at the beginning is so many people saying, this is amazing, it's exactly what the city region needs. They kind of engage with us and then they go off the radar a little bit, which has obviously been a little frustrating for us. However, I think what we're starting to see now, even just in the past 2 weeks, if I'm honest, is a lot of businesses who registered way back when and kind of hadn't given their job descriptions or, kind of followed through, I guess, with the initial interest, are coming back to us saying, oh, that didn't have time, but this is now a great time for us and here's what you needed. So I think, for us, the lesson is got to be patient, got to be flexible and totally understanding of the fact that SMEs can't plan ahead in the same way as, some of the larger organisations, which is why they need the scheme in the first place.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things that I learned, rather than just kind of having a lot of asks of SMEs, you have to be able to give back as well and do the things that suits them and their ways of working and what they want to get out from the programme. And obviously the LCR grad scheme is a regional project, but it's supported by both local and national delivery partners. How have you found that experience?
So I think, for us, it was massively important to have the likes of Agents Academy involved with the training development, because they deliver the principles of social media, which is actually an accredited qualification, which kind of complements the programme you're running, Gabi, at Gradconsult. But we've also had a local company work with us on kind of videos and marketing as well, which has been brilliant. But what we wanted to do is you know, this programme is, yes, about talent retention, but also about putting the Liverpool City region on the map as a real kind of destination, a place to start your career. And so we've also had Rate My Placement, who of course have an amazing national brand and presence with students. We've had them involved in the marketing programme. That has been great because it's doing something which I'm really passionate about, which is bringing back students who've left the city region to study and are now kind of looking for roles and didn't really kind of think about coming back. Is some of the feedback we've had until they saw the grad scheme. And, you know, I think our MP have done an amazing job of putting this on the radar with students from Warwick, London schools, Newcastle universities. We've had kind of come through the application process. Even now, I'm talking to a student from the University of Oxford. She's in her first year and she's from Liverpool, and she's like, I've seen this, I want to know like more about it for when I graduate. That's exactly what we want.
Good stuff. So as universities, we're always thinking about impact, particularly when it's a project that does require funding or significant resource. We have to be able to demonstrate that. We're a bit early into the project, obviously we're only starting in September, but what do you foresee the impact of the project being, or what impact would you like it to have?
Yeah, so we're currently actually in the process of selecting an evaluation provider who is going to be able to really, you know, I should say it's early days, but really put data around the work we're doing in terms of looking at the social value of the project, the economic impact, and we're really excited to see, you know, the methodologies which will be put in place to kind of help us be able to do that. What we hope is, as I said earlier, you know, that in future we have a much stronger connection with local businesses and not just SMEs. So at the moment, of course, you know, we're governed by you know, ESF regulation and requirements, and I think we can only support SMEs, but we've had larger businesses come to us saying, how can I get involved in this? This is something we want to do. And so I think, you know, this is something which we see as having a real future in the city region. We also, you know, want to be able to see how that talent retention is going to have a positive impact on the businesses and business growth. You know, as we're creating a programme which is upskilling graduates, we're upskilling businesses too, and that's going to have, hopefully we think, you know, a real positive impact, which we'll be able to show through evaluation further down the line. Finally, again, I think, you know, being able to hold up our brand ambassadors as role models for kind of local schools, I think is really important too. We really think that we'll be able to have an impact there in raising aspirations. We've actually done our first session with that. So a couple of weeks back, we delivered in partnership with the Widening Participation team here at the University of Liverpool, we delivered a session for 120 Year 12 students. And it was so interesting because at the beginning of every session, we asked them if they were thinking of staying in Liverpool or leaving when they kind of finish university. And like 60 to 70% were saying they were planning on leaving. But then as we kind of delivered our session and talked about the opportunities which are available in the businesses here, they were coming to us at the end saying, wow, I didn't even know that was an option, and you know, they've changed their mind. So I think that's something else which we really want to be able to do long term with the project, and will be a really good impact.
Just thinking for a second about metrics, what impact do you think it might have on the universities involved in terms of, you know, things like graduate outcomes and other metrics?
Hopefully, obviously, we're going to have a positive impact on graduate outcomes, and being able to monitor that. Again, that's something which we're not going to be able to kind of look at for a good while, since we've only been up and running since September, but that will all be considered as part of our evaluation too.
And then there will be some people on this call, Kerry, who might be kind of looking at their own region and thinking, how do we get more graduates to stay here and to contribute to our amazing regional economy? What advice or what stuff might you say to them if they're thinking about their regional strategies? What advice would you give them?
I think advice I would give them is to kind of, you know, play to the strengths of the city region and really understand the strategies. So like Gabi, as you said, you know, we have been looking very closely at the sectors for growth and how we can support those in how we're working with businesses. I think one of the ways we've managed to engage businesses is through working closely with local business support networks and agencies as well. The combined authority we've worked really closely with. So my advice would be, before embarking on anything like this, really get a solid understanding of what the aims of the city region are, and how you can support those with the development of any scheme. Make sure it's tailored. I think, you know, every aspect of our programme is tailored to what we know about the city region. You know, whether that be kind of data-driven or anecdotal. So, you know, it does feel very much like it's for the Liverpool city region.
So what you're saying, Kerry, is everyone should go away and do some research.
Yes, exactly that, because you love it.
Exactly. So we have a few minutes left of this session. Mike, do we have any questions for either Kerry or myself about the LCR grad scheme?
Yeah, that's a fantastic presentation. Thanks both. And it's really fascinating to see how the project's developing. I'm sort of looking ahead in terms of sort of the sustainability of the programme with sort of a fixed funding window. What sort of, you know, plans are sort of being put in place to sort of ensure the sustainability of the sort of programme longer term?
That's why we're accelerating the evaluation process, to be honest, Mike, so that we can have something in place which is, you know, there to show that this is what we've done kind of data-wise, and so that we can really have a solid case for, you know, getting out there and getting funding from other sources. As I mentioned before, we've had interest from larger companies. That in itself presents an opportunity, you know, if they are kind of having deeper pockets, I guess, and they kind of, so I think these are things which we're kind of looking at and addressing now. But it's tough, you know, we've got to kind of make sure that we are delivering on what our aims are right now, and that's the absolute priority, as well as looking ahead to what the future might hold. And it's bright, I think, so.
Yeah. And in terms of sort of the, you know, the civic engagement potential of this project is absolutely huge. You know, it's incredible to see sort of the mayor and all of those people sort of engaged at a high level, which is obviously particularly impressive. And obviously you've sort of outlined a plethora of like different benefits that this program can bring. Is there anything that sort of benefits that maybe weren't expected that sort of emerged, and things that have come out of it that sort of whether it's from students or the SMEs that you know you didn't necessarily plan for, but as an additional benefit?
Kerry, sorry, I was going to jump in with one, but do you want to go first, Kerry?
Yeah. At this point, I think one of the things which has really stood out to me is how we are kind of creating a community. So that event, for example, you know, where we're connecting businesses who were not connected before, and kind of making those links by bringing together so many people, I think is something that, you know, in the back of my mind thought might happen, but seeing it at that event happen in practice was amazing. I think the other thing, obviously, which, you know, this bid was submitted prior to COVID, but now things have changed so much in the past couple of years that we are also able to benefit the Building Back Stronger strategy, I think, of the Liverpool City region as well. So that's definitely been an additional benefit.
Just from my side, we tasked each of the grads to do a project over the course of 6 months, which is quite a big ask, you know, asking them to do this programme alongside their usually full-time job and a project as well. But they're just absolutely taking to it. One of the graduates has actually started to set up a Black business networking kind of network, so that other people who are interested in enterprise who are from Black backgrounds in the Liverpool City region have a community of people that they can work with and support. And that's something that is obviously going to have a really positive impact within the LCR. And that's just a project that they have come up with because it suits what they're interested in. And it meets the brief of their kind of SME, and also the brief that we've given them. So even though that's just one project and we're still in the very early stages, I can see how it's absolutely going to be a benefit for him as an individual, for his business and the wider city region.
Yeah, and that's also really complementary to everything that's going on in the city region at the moment in terms of support. And you know, there's a growing Black business network and lots of kind of support available. So I think, you know, those sorts of things feed so nicely into what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's you know, if you read every university strategy, they'll be talking about being a catalyst for regional economic development and sort of, you know, partnering with the sort of local community and, you know, supporting growth and all of these things. And, you know, this is such a fantastic example of doing that on so many different levels, from creating the community, linking businesses together, creating networks of young professionals, graduate retention. All of these things are, you know, massive agendas for the region, not just the university. And that's such a fantastic example, and I'm really excited to see how it develops and what comes out of the evaluation and what's next for the project. So thank you so much. It's been really fantastic to hear about the project so far, and thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Gabi.